Hey y'all, Steelers528 here. Welcome back to the video. I know I haven't posted in a while. I was busy with a lot of different things. And I decided hey, let's make a video today. So, in front of me you can see here, this is a Drytron deck. This might be kind of random out of nowhere, but I've been playing this deck a lot recently, and I have to say, it's pretty fucking fun. So each card here, almost every single card in the newest set, Lightning Overdrive, that help Drytron are all really, really good. So this deck is always going to probably be top tier in the current meta. It's probably going to get hits again this fan list. I don't know, but hey, it's still a neat deck. So we're gonna go over each card. I'm also going to show you guys a combo leader. But before we get into that, let's just go for the card by card. So first up, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom. It's a hand trap. Really nothing else to say. Next up, we have 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. This card's absolutely ludicrous for no reason. So if it's normal special summon, you can just dump any fairy monster from your deck or extra deck. You're never going to be sending from deck to graveyard. Unless in very, very specific scenarios where you dump Ava. But you're usually going to be dumping either Herald or Entis, because that just generates a bunch of advantage. Also, it also increases that level. Now, that the level increasing part doesn't sound very important, but it's actually going to come up a lot. It's going to be very, very important. It's critical to the combo, where you make this become a level 6, so you're always going to be building level 4. Alright? So Diviner would become a 6, and you would overlay with another ritual monster who's also level 6, either Benton or Editen, and then go into Beatrice to mill anything from deck. So yeah, this card's really good. Its second effect, Bird's Tributing, especially on a Fairy from deck, it doesn't come up at all, but it's just an okay effect, I guess. You're never gonna activate it though. It's only ever used for its first effect. It's also searchable for some reason, so there's also that. So it's not even like it's an unsearchable starter. It's very, very good. You can consistently get into your hand almost every single game. And it's also a really good top tick in general too. So yeah, definitely 3 of. You have to play 3 of this. This is absolutely bonkers. Next up, we have 3 copies of Alpha Thuban and Zeta. These 2 cards are essentially the same thing, where you contribute a Drytron or Ritual monster. Then you just special summon this guy from your hand or graveyard, and they search a ritual monster and ritual spell respectively. These cards remain combo starters. If you open both Zeta and Thuban, you basically go full combo. So yeah, you play 3 of each of these, and you have a crap ton of ways to get to them. So yeah, there's a both really good cards. They let you start your combos. They're just free bodies. I mean, all the directions are free bodies, but these are probably the best ones. Next up, we have 1 copy of Delta Alteus. This card isn't that good. It's okay. It lets you It basically lets you dig deeper into your deck for an extra draw, so you can just potentially draw to an extra combo piece or an extra extender. It's fine. You really don't want to play more than one of this because it can break at multiple. It can break at multiples really, really badly. So just that one, this card's completely fine. You usually mill this off move Beta Fafnir if you already send it Gamma, or you already have Gamma in hand. And yeah. Next up, we have 2 copies of Gamma. This card's pretty good. You can play this at 1 or 2. It doesn't really matter. Each one really works. I prefer playing 2 because it helps in the grind game. Also, you can notice I have a 4-1 card deck. Yeah, but this card's pretty good in the grind game, so I like it. I like it at 2. Essentially, it lets you summon a Drytron from your graveyard after it's summoned. It doesn't target 2, so that's also nice. So if your opponent DD Crows or Call by the Greats one of your Drytrons, you can just special back a different one. So that's also pretty nice. Yeah, this card's pretty good. This is gonna be what you're gonna be milling off Move Beta Fafnir most of the time. So yeah. Next up, we have 2 copies of Ava. This used to be a single copy. You used to not really play more than one of this, but now with Diviner around, this card's a kind of a combo starter. Or if you open this, you can just link off into Link Rainbow. If you're somehow able to get a fairy in graveyard, you can just grab Diviner from deck. So yeah, pretty good. It also just lets you grab almost anything. So yeah. You're gonna usually be grabbing Harlow Orange Light with this. So Inheritance Orange Light is a card that lets you send this and another fairy from your hand to graveyard, hands to the graveyard to negate an monster effect, destroy it. So it's just a negate. It's also another hand trap essentially. You have a bunch of targets for this card. It's basically a better Gamma in this deck. Gamma, you don't play this card in here because Siphon Driver can be normal summoner set, which turns off all your Drytron cards and accidentally delete one of them. Oops. I'm gonna go just put that back in there. Okay. Next up, we have the Ritual Monsters. So we have one copy of Benton, one copy of Editen, one Natasha, one Meteonis Draconids, and one Ultimatus. So, Benton is self-explanatory. You can search it off the Dubon or the pre-prep, which and it just lets you, if it's tribute, you can just grab the Diviner from deck. That's essentially its entire purpose. You can also loop it twice. So you'd usually you triggered Benton twice in a turn usually, or you tribute it once with Zeta, and then once with Gamma. So yeah, you would grab usually Diviner and Ultimatus from deck. Next up we have a copy of Editen. So this card isn't really played. Neither is Natasha in the newer builds, but I like having these two cards. So what Editen does is that if it's ritual summon, it can add a ritual spell, from your deck or give it to your hand. The only reason you don't really grab from deck is because it kind of you already have a way to recur this, so it's just kind of better to grab from graveyard to hand. I prefer doing it that way. You can grab from deck too, doesn't really matter. This card is pretty good. You're never going to be tributing it though, since all it does is that it just gives everything 1,000 attack. But yeah, it lets you essentially just grab the ritual spell, which is Meteonis Drytron. Next will be a copy of Natasha. This card's really, really good in the grind game or just like a turn 3 or 4. Because it's just that you banish both Benton and then eat it from your graveyard after you have an established board, and your opponent has to kind of set up their own little small boards to defend themselves. Natasha can just take everything and then you can just link everything off into an access code, so it's really, really good. It's negate attack. It also has another effect where it can negate an attack and just gain life points. Those barely come up, but it's fine. Next up, we have the one copy of Draconids. This is a personal preference thing. I just like playing this card because it's really fucking funny. It's an untargetable monster by Monster Perfect, so it's actually pretty neat. Also, if the total of all the monsters that are used with the ritual summon on this card is 2 or less, you can attack all monster opponents controls once each. So it's also an OTK card, and it has 4k attack by the way. So this thing's pretty hard to get over. And during your opponent's turn, you can just basically send 2 cards to your opponent's graveyard. So targeting non-destruction removal, which is really, really nice. Overall, pretty decent card. I really like it. But you don't have to play though. It's just personal preference. Next up, we have one copy of Ultimateness. This card is insanely good. All you have to do is sacrifice 1 Drytron to summon this thing, so it's not even that hard to summon. And it's an Omni to give for anything. So you would usually just send Ava. So the standard combo is to send Ava twice with Beatrice during your turn and then during your opponent's turn. So you just banish Ava and Divine. You just banish Ava and Diviner from graveyard to grab 2 fairies, and then you do it again during your opponent's turn to banish Ava and the Herald of Arclight, and then grab another 2 fairies. So you get a 4 negate ultimateness off that. So yeah, it's pretty, really good. Next up, we have 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Just grab any machine that can't be normal summon to set. So essentially, I have a Drytron. Really, really good card. So you have to play through it. There's no question. We have 2 copies of Drytron Fafnir. It lets you grab the Nova from deck, or if you have no way to get to Meteonis, grab Meteonis. That's all you've really played. It has another effect where it prevents ritual spells from being negated, which is a nice effect, but it doesn't really come up that much. And then he has this weird random effect. I really don't know what this effect was for, but it never comes up from when I played it at least. Next we have 3 copies of Drytron Nova. It's Nova, just summons any Drytron from deck. And it just lets you extend your combos insanely. So yeah, you kind of have to play 3. Also, the funny thing is, it says you can only activate one Drytron Nova per turn. So if your opponent like judgments this or something, you can just activate it again, which is hilarious. Next up, we have 2 copies of Meteor and it's Drytron. Really good ritual spell. Insanely good. This thing lets you basically summon any ritual monster for free, because usually you would have to sacrifice levels, right? But since this thing counts towards attack, you can just essentially just sack any one Drytron for any ritual monster, which is really really neat. It also has another effect where it can recur itself too, so really good ritual spell card. Probably one of the best ritual spell cards to like be printed, honestly. Then we have 3 copies of Prosperity. It's Prosperity. Really don't know what else to say. You really only be going to be banished 3 cards off this. What I do to banish is Nightmare, Phoenix, Unicorn, and then 1 copy of Herald. That's usually what I banish off the Prosperity. Go grab 3 cards from the deck. Yeah, it's Prosperity. It's just good. Next up, we have 3 copies of Pre-Prep. You should know how to play this card. A Preparation of Right, sorry. You don't have to play this card. It's really, really good, obviously, because it lets you grab the ritual monsters. Benton, Edison, and Natasha. However, it can't grab you Draconids or Ultimateness, so you don't have to play more copies of this, and you already have like a lot of ways to get to these cards anyways. So this is just personal preference. I just like playing 3. Same thing with Prosperity. You don't need to play this card. So yeah, that's just your choice, essentially. You can replace these 2 cards with like Hand Trap something, and you'd probably still be fine. Next up, for the extra deck, we have 1 copy of Entis to send off the Diviner or the Herald, and so lets you pop a card on the board, so it lets you break boards. It's an okay card. You want to play 1. Next, you have 2 copies of Herald or Arclight. So it's the reason I played 2 is because it's really good in the grind game. Where if your opponent if you end up not using one of the, if you end up not using both of Herald or Orange negates, or like all of like Ultimate negates, then you can actually have a Diviner in hand to save after you went through the combo once. So you can just send it. So you can mill a 2nd copy of Herald of Arclight from the deck, from your extras to the graveyard, grab ritual, and then trigger all your Drytron effects and just combo off from there. So yeah, that's why I like playing 2 of this. You don't have to play 2. I just prefer playing 2 because it just lets you do that. You can usually play either 2 Fafnir or 2 Arclight. I just prefer playing 2 Arclight. It's just more comfortable for me. Next up, we have 1 copy of Beatrice. It lets you send any card from the graveyard. It's insanely good. What you would do is you would make this level 6, overlay with like Edison or Ben 10, usually Edison, and then you just go mill a dude, and then whoa, you go combo off from there. You would send Ava off this, like I said before, and then grab 2 fairies. So yeah, a really good card. Next up, we have the 1 copy of Zeus, and cards that make Zeus. So the Assembled Nightingale, Downward Magician, and the Zeus. I'm not really gonna explain these because it's just a Zeus engine. That's all it is. Next up, we have 1 copy Lubid of Fafnir. This card is really good. It lets you just send any Drytron from Dex Graves, which is going to be sending Gamma, and then it lets you use its materials for ritual material. It lets you use its XYZ materials for ritual summon. So yeah, that's really good because because it essentially acts as 3 Tribute Fathers on its own. So Jesus. Its 2nd effect where it gets Ball Trap is fine. You're not gonna probably gonna you're not it's not gonna be on board long enough for that to matter. Also, it's probably gonna have no materials left for that to even matter in the first place. Your only machine ritual monster in the deck is Draconid, so yeah. You can play 2 of this. It's your choice. I just prefer playing 1. Next up, you have 1 copy of Access Code for What's King, 1 copy of Apollosa. You already have to get enough bodies on board. You can make an Apollosa plus Ultimateness, which is really, really good. 1 copy of Mirage Lights, it's Spell Trap Negate, and if it's destroyed by a opponent's card, it lets you go insane plus amount by just adding 2 ritual monsters or ritual spells from the graveyard to your hand, so you can just trigger all your Drytron effects again. 1 copy of IP Masquerena, it's IP, because you can link it to Unicorn to shuffle a card back, Phoenix, pop back row, Unicorn same thing, but spin something, then make access code, and 1 copy of Link Rebo to then combo off from the Drytron cards. Then we have the side deck. So we have 1 copy of Landscape because it's searchable. with a deck, so you don't have to play more than one of this. 3 copies of Droll Knocker from the mirror match. Same thing with Ariel, has a mirror match. You can send it off Beatrice to banish 3 Drytrons from your opponent's graveyard, which just stop their turn essentially. We're gonna be getting to this later. With 2 copies of Silence from Cyclone, Recordix, same thing with the Harper's Feather Duster, and 3 copies of Dark Blue No More for going second against big combo decks. Now for the Griffin. So this is a really funny thing I found. So what he could do, if you notice, I have 3 floodgates in the side deck. So what he can do is, if it's like going to game 3, right, and your opponent, you're obviously, if you lost game 2 and you're going through game 3, and you know what your opponent is playing, you can set out the Apollosa because you're going to be expecting like a big monster board, right? So with the set in cards like Dark Blue No More or something like that to out that board, right? What he would do is set out the Apollosa for the Rhineford Griffin, and then you place like any one of the floodgates you need. So if you're against like Dragon Link or some big combo deck that requires a lot of monsters, set in TCU. If you're against like some trap deck like Trap Brigade or something like that, or Eldritch, set in Roll Decree. If you're against a big spell-based deck like Sky Striker, maybe set in Imperial Order. And by doing that, you essentially just win the game. Surprisingly, a Floodgate backed by another Floodgate, Nightmares of Floodgate, by the way, backed by a Monster Negate, is surprisingly good. Because what you can do is essentially make Beatrice plus this, and then you'd be able to grab Herald of Arnlight and Diviner from deck. So yeah. Also, you would send one of the floodgates off from the deck to the grave with Beatrice, by the way, just so you know, and you would add it back with Griffin. We're gonna just go into a quick combo first. Just go to the correct deck. Let go. Here it is. Okay. I'm gonna be showing you a quick three card combo. So we're gonna just do that. Grabbing Zeta and a body. So for this combo you need Zeta, Alpha, and just any extra body. So another Drytron or Nova would work. So we're gonna start off by activating the copy of Thuban Alpha in hand, tribute Zeta, especially on Thuban. Alpha lets you Alpha Thuban, as you see the same thing. Alpha grabs you Benton from deck, and you now use Zeta effect, tribute the Benton, which summons Zeta. Zeta will then grab you the Ritual spell, which is Medionis, and Benton effect activates to then grab you Diviner. Here I would activate the extra body since I'm using Drytron Nova here. You can activate this whenever, it doesn't matter. Activate this. In this case, we're going to be selfish summoning Delta from deck. Link off Delta into a copy of Link Haribo. Next, overlay these two into move out of Fafnir. Fafnir's effect activates to then send you a copy of Gamma from deck. Now, this is where it gets a bit weird. So you activate Medionis Drytron here. Use Fafnir effects to detach for it. Special summoning back to the Benton from a graveyard. This thing works just from the graveyard, by the way, not just hand, for some stupid reason. Now you activate Gamma effect by tributing the Benton. Special summon both Gamma and Thuban. Doesn't really matter which summon here. And Benton effect activates, then grab you a copy of... Where is it? Yiddleton. Here you would use Medionis to add this back to hand by decreasing one of your monsters. Activate Medionis, detach from Fafnir to special summon Yiddleton. Yiddleton effect, and then add this back to your hand. Now here you would normal summon Diviner, activate the Diviner effect, sending the copy of Arclight to grave. Arclight then grabs the Ultimateness. And here, you would then overlay the now level 6 Diviner and the Yiddleton to Beatrice. Now, here you would use Delta effect in Graveyard, tributing the Ultimateness, special summoning the Delta effect to reveal, draw one. I'm just going to draw in the card situation. Not this. You kind of want this in deck. Okay, we just drew a card. Nova here. Now you would link all 4 of these into Appaloosa for 4. You activate Beatrice effect, detaching the Diviner, sending Ava from the graveyard. Ava effect activates, banishing itself and Diviner, to then add Diviner and an Orange Light to my deck to hand. Here, you then activate Meteor's Drytron, tributing the Delta Alteus, special mini ultimates from graveyard. Now during your opponent's turn, he would then activate Beatrice's effect again, detach, send another copy of Ava, and now that Ava triggers banishing Arclight and itself to then grab Orange Light and another copy of Diviner. With this 3 cards, you get 4 Omni Negates, 4 Monster Negates, and 2 extra cards in hand. Really good. And now we're just going to go to the side deck real quick. So we're going to do the same exact thing, except with Griffin. I'm just going to side out 1 copy of pre-prep. Doesn't really matter here. So it's essentially the same exact combo. We're just going to be shuffling these back. So we here add Zeta, Thuban, Nova. There's going to be a very, very slight difference. That's it. So now you use Thuban effect, attributing Zeta. Special summon Thuban. Thuban add Benten. Can find it. Okay. Zeta effect, attribute Benten. Zeta add the ritual spell. Where am I blind? Okay, here it is. Benten effect. Add Diviner. Overlay. Summon Fafnir. Fafnir effect. Sending Gamma. Active Meteonis. Detach. Special. Benten. Tribute Benten for Gamma. Gamma summon itself. In Zeta from graveyard. Benten effect activates. Lets you add Iraten. Meteonis effect activates in graveyard. Decrease Zeta. Activate Meteonis. Detach. Special. Activate Iraten effect. Add back Drytron. Activate Nova. Nova send this. Link summon. Wait, that's the wrong one, sorry. Link summon this into, oh crap, into Link Tribo. By the way, zone placement matters, by the way. It matters a lot here. Now your normal summon Diviner. Diviner effect activates. Sending Arclight. Arclight lets you grab, where is it? Ultimateness. Overlay into Beatrice. Beatrice effect. Detach Diviner. Diviners. Send the Floodgate to graveyard. It's important, by the way. Link all 4 into Griffin. Griffin effect, discard a card. Since you started with 5 cards, discard any card in your hand here. To add back the Floodgate. Then you can use Delta effect in graveyard because it doesn't activate in the field, so you can actually still draw even though you have Griffin up. So you activate this, reveal, draw 1, and then during your opponent's turn, you set the Floodgate, and during your opponent's turn, you activate this again, sending a copy of Ava. Ava triggers, banishing itself, and Diviner to then add Orange Light, and Diviner. So with this, you have a Floodgate, another Floodgate, and a Monster Negate. Pretty good. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I really like this deck a lot. It's really enjoyable. You should definitely check this deck out, and I'll see you next time.